Hello, welcome, happy August. It's time for another randomly selected palette. This is where I draw out slips. It chooses the indie single shadows that I'll be using all month long, and that way I can make sure I'm getting use out of my eyeshadow collection and some circulation going on. So let's just switch over to my hands and get into it. So here is my random palette from July. I re-straightened it out after I had made sure I used everything. And, it worked out pretty well. No real complaints. I wish I had a better transition color, but I think I knew off the bat that none of these shades would be the perfect transition for me. But I did make do, and I did make a lot of looks that I really liked with it. Let's put it away in my palette. I felt like this palette nicely fit 3 months last time. Was I wrong? Well, maybe that's the thing. This one's floating a little bit. Okay, here are all the shadows back with their June shadows and May shadows, and this overstuffed palette means that we're just about due for another declutter of my recently randomly selected palettes. So that's cool. That will be coming later this month. So yeah, once again, I don't have any newly acquired shadows from July. I'm kind of in like a good streak right now of not buying more shadows and really going in on my goal of just like trying out the shadows I already have. So that's exciting. We'll pick 25 oldies but goodies, some not so old, from my boot. Let's get right into it. Starting with Sydney Grace Meadow. This is a beautiful matte. I don't love the formula of it. I know some people really rave about Sydney Grace's mattes. They've never really done it for me, but this one, I really like the color, and maybe I'll find a way during this month that I really like to use it. Cleona Palace! Yay! I think this is my favorite shadow right now. I got this in March or April. I think I ordered it in March. I got it in April. It's such a beautiful, shifty, light bubblegum pink. I love the color of it. I love the shift of it. I'm so excited to have that in here. Luxie Venus. This is a beautiful neutral. That's such like a nice, easy, everyday shade. Terra Moon's Tiny Dancer. This is a blue matte. I like that. Or is it the matte? No, maybe the matte I'm thinking is Atlantis, and this is the shimmer that's like the similar tone of that matte. Yeah. Dandelions Cosmetics Lila. Okay, this was a pretty light lavender matte. My video using this one up recently, and this was a shadow that I used in my crease, and I enjoyed it. So far we have some nice shimmers, a couple colorful mattes. I'm liking how this is going. Divina Soleils. Wow, this is my favorite inner corner shadow. I use it all the time. I probably use it like 3 times a week. And to be able to use that with like my favorite pink lid shade, I'm so excited. I knew there was a lot of good shades that I haven't picked yet in here. Colored Rain Blue Magic. Okay, not as excited about this one. This is the only Colored Rain shadow that I still have from years ago. It's like a dark, rich blue. It's a kind of color that works for like duping palettes more than I actually want to use it, but I bet I will use it and get a look I like out of it. I might even enjoy using it with Tiny Dancer because they're both very different tones of blue. Luxie Everything. Wow, this is a good palette. This is a transition color, a very like neutral tan transition, and I love Luxie's matte formula. Luxie Pixie Dust. This I also just used, I think in my Rick and Morty dupe palette. Really gorgeous pink. Adept ACD 15, which is a purple. I think this is like a deep purple that doesn't look like much in the pan, but every time I've swatched it, I think it's really pretty. So get more use out of that. Luxie Big Bang. Cool. This is from the most recent Luxie collection, and it was my favorite one from there. It's kind of like a neutrally shade that I think shifted like yellow and peach. A really interesting neutral, and I haven't given it as much love as I would like to. Luxie Snickerdoodle. Cool. This is one of my favorite Luxie shades. I actually used it not too long ago because it was in my Rick and Morty palette also. Yeah. Glaminatrix Fate. This is a transition color that I love. This is like a gorgeous pink. And the thing that I love about it too is it works for a transition, but it also works as like a color. If I want to add like a pink matte into my look, it works really well as a color. So I feel taken care of in this palette because I have a neutral matte crease and I have a pink matte crease. Cool. Now I'm just hoping for maybe some more inner corner shades because I have Soleil's to be a pink, but maybe like a different tone also. Terra Moon's Fourth Dimension. This is one of the neons that I really like using for my lower lash line. I think this was also in my Rick and Morty palette. That's so funny. I can't remember if it's the green. I think it's the green, but I'm not positive. We'll have to see. ColourPop Chic Happens. Oh, this is like a cool toned matte. I remember I almost decluttered this. I talked about it in a declutter video and then I decided to not declutter it. So we'll try it out here. That was a while ago. I have used it since then, but Cleona Crown Jewel. Gorgeous, bright blue. A very different blue still than Blue Magic and Tiny Dancer. Cleona Verte. This is a green that I have very mixed feelings about. Whenever I see it in the pan, I'm very unexcited about it, but I'm pretty sure it's a beautiful shadow in the lid. I'll have to see. ColourPop Cute Alert. I can't remember exactly which one this is. I think it's like a berryish brown matte, and I know I really liked it back in the day. I know it's also probably very old. These ColourPop mattes, they were my first single shadows that I had, and that was back in like 2017, maybe 2018. So it's possible that the shadow's like 6 years old. So it'll be a good chance to reevaluate if that's still everything that it used to be. Luxie Cookie Dough. This is a beautiful shadow, like a light, beautiful, wet looking, sparkly shadow. So that'll be a good neutral. Menagerie Animal Kingdom. This is one of my favorite like one and done shadows. Such a beautiful, light, sparkly champagne. I think this palette's gonna look good. Cleona Royalty. This is a purple that I remember really loving, but I haven't reached for it in a long time. Menagerie Chase. Okay, this is one I'm a little skeptical about. I think this is like a peachy matte, or even like a creamsicle colored matte. Menagerie mattes are so powdery that I like using them for my lower lash line, or if I'm doing like a colorful matte look on the lid, which I don't normally do. But for my crease, I feel like they're too pigmented. So I'll have to see about that one. Okay, 3 spots left. I feel like we're flying through this, and it's all working out pretty good. Luxie Complicated. I think this is a matte. Is that the dark blue? I think it might be. Okay. I feel like it might be too dark for me to want to use it on my lower lash line on its own. Actually, though, oh no, Tiny Dancer isn't a matte. Because usually when I do a really dark blue on my lower lash line, I mix it in with more of like a mid-tone blue. So I'll have to see how that goes. But also I could use it to like deepen up Blue Magic or something like that. Cleona Blaze. This is one of my favorite Cleona shadows. That's really exciting. Gorgeous. And lastly, Davina Orion. Awesome. This is like a gorgeous lime green sparkly shadow. I'm really excited about that. I'm curious how this palette's gonna look. I feel like I do have all of my different corners covered, but I can't tell if there's like a particular color theme or if it's like balanced, because there's definitely like several greens, several blues, several pinks, several purples. Yeah, maybe this is gonna look like a really balanced rainbow palette. I'm going to pull these out. Yeah. Doesn't this already look so curated? I feel like these greens and the neutrals and the pinks look so like perfectly thought out together. And like the cool tone in there. I'm so excited about this. That's not the purple I was thinking of, but that does look really pretty in here. So Chase isn't in its home, and I feel like I had talked about it sometime recently. I wonder if I decluttered it. I'm really not sure, but it's not where it's supposed to be, and I don't think it's in any like random palettes that I have made right now. So I am gonna pull another one for that. But I'm just saying, I think this palette is so perfect right now. And if I get like a total wild card, I'm gonna throw it back. If I get like a bright orange right now, I'm gonna throw it back. I want to keep the theme. Chase would have worked with the theme, not like perfectly, but it would have worked. And yeah, I want to make sure that this one doesn't like ruin everything. Cleona Estate. It's kind of like a grungy green. I don't think that's the vibe. I'll put it back in after. Menagerie Allium. That's like a purple. I think it's kind of similar to this one. Not the vibe. I'm just going to be a little picky. Why not? Luxie Jawbreaker. I think that works with the vibe. I think the one has like pink and green in it. There we go. Not too far off in the pan from how Venus looks, but I know that they come off different on the eyes. Okay, so now's the time that I arranged it in here. It's funny because like I'm kind of tempted to leave it random because what I do is always the same thing. I just kind of organize things by color. But I don't know. I think I like them organized by color. But this isn't this so wonderfully balanced with like the neutrals, the greens, the blues, the purples, and the pinks. That's something that I find I really look for in palettes. I don't want them to be too one note, but I still want it to be like a color story that has some parameters. And this one definitely is. Like there's mix and match types of looks, but you could also get monochromatic looks. This is awesome. I'm so excited. Okay, yeah, so I guess I'm gonna unrandomize it. I feel like this looks so like gorgeous and ethereal right now, doesn't it? Isn't this beautiful? I feel like this looks so curated. I kind of can't believe it. It's unique also because, well, first of all, we got way more Cleona shades than normal. There's 5 in here, and also way more mattes than normal. There's been other months where I get 0 mattes, maybe 1 matte, which is kind of inspiring because I feel like the mattes really sculpt looks in the way that I'm not usually so inspired to do with shimmers. Cool. Yeah, I really like these pinky rose. I feel like it's a really interesting mix of pinks. And then the bottom just looks like, I don't know, like like going out on the boat from the castle into the waters. I'm such a fan of this palette. I don't think it looks random at all. I am going to do swatches, but first I'm going to choose the slips for its little companions for the month. Okay, so in here is supposed to be all of my palettes. I don't put the slips back in after I remove them for a month. There's not that many left in here. There's like 4 or 5 left in here. I don't know if all of my palettes were ever really in here. I'm a little skeptical now, but I am gearing up to do a big palette declutter, so I feel like after then I'll kind of like reconcile again with the palettes I have, or maybe once I finish these, I'll, throw the rest back in. I'm not really sure, but let's see what we get. Serenity. Cool. This is the Menagerie palette that was in collaboration with the Nets Makeup Corner, and it is a palette that I reach for quite often. Not as often as my other Menagerie, just because, kind of like I was saying about this, it has a pretty unconcise color story. So unless I specifically remember that the shades in the Serenity palette, I can't be like, oh, I want a purple, let me grab this in the same way that I can with my Flight Club palette. So it takes like a little bit more brain work to remember when it's time to pull it out. You know what I mean? I guess also, I think I have some small palettes in here. Let me try to get another small palette. If I get a big one, I'll throw it back in. Ruby Lights. Perfect. This is a 4-pan glitter palette, and this will be good for me to use also because, as I said, gearing up for my declutter, that's the type of thing I don't know if I want to keep. Because I know it's pretty, but I also know I never reach for it. So this month I'll be able to evaluate as I kind of make myself reach for it if it's something that I can imagine myself really integrating into my makeup process. And then for individual shadows, Rare Beauty Nearly Neutral. Okay, this is a liquid shadow that I think is such a pretty color. I don't really need it this month. Like, it would have been better in a month that I have like no transition and I could have really used that as a transition. But I think it will pair really nicely actually with some of these really beautiful neutral shimmers like Jawbreaker, Venus, Animal Kingdom, Palace. So that'll be cool. Let me pull those out. Okay, Rare Beauty Nearly Neutral. Nabla Cosmetics Ruby Lights Glitter Palette, and Menagerie and Annette's Makeup Corner Serenity Palette. I actually just used that pink yesterday. And that is fun too, that I feel like there's a couple colors in here that aren't represented in here. I mean, there's a bunch, like all of them. Really the only similarities are like this Adept one. Yeah, that's kind of it. Okay, cool. So I could definitely use this as like an inner corner for like a teal inner corner. I could imagine myself getting excited about that gorgeous shade of Periwinkle. There's an orange and yellow if I feel inspired to that direction. Okay, cool. Okay, this is fun. There's a lot of shadows in the Menagerie palette that aren't represented in my palette. I'd say really the only crossover is like this Adept shadow and that Menagerie shadow are kind of similar. But other than that, this really offers me like very different things. I could see myself using this as an inner corner shadow. I could see myself getting inspired to use this periwinkle all over my look. I have this bright gold and orange if I feel inspired. So that's cool. I'm excited about it. And let's get into the swatches. Luxie Cookie Dough, ColourPop Chic Happens, Luxie Snickerdoodle, Luxie Everything, Luxie Big Bang, Divina Soleils, Luxie Venus, Glaminatrix Fate, Cleona Palace, Luxie Pixie Dust, Menagerie Animal Kingdom, Dandelion Cosmetics Lila, Luxie Jawbreaker, Cleona Blaze, Adept ACD 15, Sydney Grace Meadow, Divina Orion, Terramoon's Fourth Dimension, Cleona Verte, ColourPop Cute Alert, Cleona Royalty, Cleona Crown Jewel, Terramoon's Tiny Dancer, Color Rain Blue Magic, Luxie Complicated. Here are all of the beautiful swatches. I think this palette really looks like it makes sense. Like for someone else, maybe it would be a little bit redundant in that kind of like neutrally pink shimmer category, but for me, those are all unique and beautiful and I'm really excited. And I feel like the blues are varied enough, the greens are varied. This is so exciting to me. I feel like this is like the best that the random selection has ever gotten me. So that's really exciting. I'm really excited to see what looks I come up with this. I feel like there's a little bit less detective work that I'm going to be doing this month as opposed to other months because most of these shadows are shadows that I know I really enjoy and love, but I guess some of these down here I will be like kind of reevaluating my feelings with. And yeah, as I said, we'll be back later in the month to talk about the other recent palettes and this one and see how it goes. So yeah, let's switch back over to my face and talk some final thoughts. I'm really excited about this palette. I feel like a lot of my favorite shades are in here and that's awesome. Let me show you what I have on my eyes. For my crease, I just used Luxie Everything. I have Cleona Palace in the center of my lid and then Cleona Royalty on the inner and outer of the halo. On my lower lash line, I used a little bit of the Dandelions Lila. And on top of that, I put a little bit more of Cleona Royalty. And my inner corner is, of course, Divina Soleils. I love this look. If you know my eyeshadow style, I love pinks and purples together. So this is like quintessential Hannah. I'm into it. That's going to be everything for today, though. If you enjoyed this, I hope you'll give me a thumbs up and subscribe. There's always way more indie makeup content on the way. And thank you so much for being here. Bye.